Over 25 years, I have been running, owning, and operating business. I have been, let me see, I acquired my first business about 13 years ago, operated a $157 million organization before that. And then I worked in mergers and acquisitions for private equity. So I know a few things about money, and my passion is helping other people maximize their money and mitigate their taxes. And so I built a whole firm around it, and the team here at Unique Growth, we are going to serve you. We're going to lead with education, and we are absolutely going to empower you take control of your money. So today we are talking about estate planning, and our time together is very casual and open. I am going to try to become one with the chat. We've got a few team members on today. So if you are having any questions as we are talking today, if you want to slow down some of the topics that I'm presenting, just let us know what's going on in the chat, and we'll be happy to monitor that chat today and answer questions. We will have some time at the end. All right, so why is estate planning important? We're going to be talking about that today. And many people don't know there are 5 parts of an estate plan. We're going to go through those parts. We're going to talk about options for funding an estate, and we're going to talk about strategies to minimize your burdens and avoid probate. And like I said at the very beginning, what we do all day long is help people take control of their money. So we're going to encourage you to do just that today. The QR code right there, if you would like to talk to us individually and talk about how funding your estate plan is a possibility for you, that just use that QR code or reach out to the person that invited you to today's session. All right, with that said, here we go. What is an estate plan? It's a legal document. And so it's a set of documents, and it's going to outline everything from your assets to your wishes, both when you're incapacitated and after you pass. And so estate planning is really going to help you. It's going to protect your family's future. It's going to minimize your taxes, and it's going to help those disputes that tend to happen when you're not around. So that's really the gist of what an estate plan is, simplified. The benefits: you have your property and your belongings. They're clearly identified and they're clearly organized. You get it to the right people. So when it matters, you're making sure that it's mapping to the right people. And the people that you want to have your money and in control of your money do. And there's a couple reasons for that, not just for your peace of mind to know that things are being taken care of for you in the way you want that to be taken care of, but think about how stressful and how emotional it is when someone passes. And that burden on your family and your loved ones that you're leaving behind is extremely challenging. An estate plan really lessens that stress during those times. Myths about estate planning. All right, myth 1. Estate planning is only for the wealthy. A lot of people say this all the time. I don't have a ton of assets. I don't have a ton of money. I don't have this. I don't have that. Estate planning is not for the wealthy. Think about estate planning as making sure you're communicating what you want to happen during a time that you are incapacitated or when you pass from this world and you want to take care of your family. I'm too young for an estate plan. Famous words. I'm too young for an estate plan. So you're never too young for an estate plan. When you become of age and you have to start adulting, you really need to start thinking about estate planning when assets start to accumulate, when you have loved ones in your life that you want to make sure are taken care of when you pass. So you're never too young. Retirement accounts are great for estate planning. Well, wah, wah. So that is a myth. Retirement accounts absolutely serve a purpose, but retirement accounts are not great for estate planning. And we're going to talk about why. An estate plan is just a will and nothing else. Well, a lot of people have simple wills in place. A lot of people jump online, use those templates and create a simple will and feel like they're okay. Like the majority of things are taken care of. And so that is simply not the case. And as we walk through the 5 components of the estate plan today, you will see why. All right, our first poll for today's session: which of the following components of an estate plan are you familiar with? So bring it up a poll now. Jordan? All right, so Jordan is running the stream. There we go. Okay, we got the poll up, guys. It's in front of you. A, will, living trust, power of attorney, healthcare directive, beneficiary designation, not familiar with any of them, or you're familiar with all of them. Everybody on today, please participate in the poll. We want to hear your answer. Awesome. We see things coming in. Give us your answers. All right, waiting on a few people. Keep it going, keep it going. All right, we've got the majority of folks in on the poll so far. So we've got a little bit of a split. We have folks that know about wills, living trust, and we've got some people that are not familiar with any of the documents. So happy you're here with us today and hope we can help solve some of these mysteries for you. Thank you for participating in the poll, and let's keep on keeping on. All right, 5 parts to an estate plan. The first part is the last will and testament. So the last will and testament is that legal document that outlines your property. It also outlines your wealth and appoints what's called an executor to manage and distribute what's in your estate. So think of the executor as the manager, somebody that you have appointed after you've passed to make sure that they manage things to the last will and testament. They direct specific assets. It could be heirlooms, property, money, and it assigns legal guardianship over any minors and children. Or sorry, dependents and minors. All right, so customizing your will, you're going to have a couple of pieces of this will. You're going to have your bequests. And so you're going to have things like, it could be furniture, antiques that have been in your family forever. Maybe there is a wedding ring of your grandmother's, those types of things. And you're going to want to make sure this property or these collectibles are passed on to family members in a specific way. And so those are called bequests. And so testamentary trusts, that this creates, it's created to manage the funds. Like let's say you have some set goals. You want to help your oldest children when they're married to put a down payment on a home, or you want to help grandchildren go to college. So this really customizes your will in these 2 ways to make sure your wishes are known and they're managed properly. All right, basic requirements of a will. You have to be 18 years of age. You have to be of sound mind. You have to be able to write the will and sign the will as the testator. It must be witnessed by at least 2 people, competent, objective individuals. When you're in the attorney's office, 9 times out of 10, that's your attorney and their legal assistant. So they just have to be objective individuals, and they cannot be your beneficiaries. Okay, if you do not have a will, what happens is your estate or your assets, if you will, can go to the state, and the state laws can then apply. You're really jeopardizing your wishes because the state then has that control. And there are things that can be applied, fees that can be applied, administrative fees that can be applied, court fees that can be applied. And in many cases, if there's minors, you won't have your wishes taken care of. And so the only way really to take control and over your assets and ensure that your loved ones are taken care of is to avoid this. Oops. One of the things I do want to make clear, and I don't want to miss it on this particular slide, it might be in future slides, but when it goes to the state and the courts, your estate or your assets can then become public. We'll probably hit on that here in a minute. Powers of attorney, there are 2 different kinds, what I call the business and what the medical, but it's financial and medical. So powers of attorney enable a person to act on your behalf. It gives them the power to act on your behalf. And so you designate someone to you grant them that authority. You can do it with a financial power of attorney and a medical power of attorney. Your financial power of attorney is going to ensure that the financial, sorry guys, I'm flipping back and forth. Your property and your finances are managed by that individual the way you wish. And then the medical power of attorney does just the same for medical and health care. It will delay, there will be court delays for court-appointed guardianship and those types of things if you do not have powers of attorney involved. And during this very sensitive time, a lot of times it's time sensitive, you do not want to have those delays or those costs incurred. All right, roles of a POA, you've got the principal, which is you. The responsibilities are just really to clearly define the scope of the authority that you're granting. You're going to choose an agent that will act on your behalf. That agent is going to act in good faith, and they are going to ensure that your wishes are being managed exactly how you want them. Agents can be family members. Sometimes that's really difficult to do. So in cases where there's a family dynamic or multiple children that may not be able to manage kind of that family dynamic or that stress, professional advisors can also be agents, attorneys, financial planners, trusted friends, somebody that's more of a third party. So they can be outside of that family dynamic, again, during a very emotional and stressful time. So factors to consider, these are a little obvious, but just in case, trustworthiness and reliability. You want to make sure that they are knowledgeable of your wishes and your values, that there's somebody that will not follow their values, but will be very focused on following yours. Also, somebody that is able and has the capacity to act on your behalf during very stressful times, very complex situations on financial and medical decisions. And then they have availability to act when you need them to act. All right, remember, drop in the chat if you have any questions as we go through. We want to make sure we're taking care of you and creating any kind of conversation around these topics to help you as you are learning the 5 components of the estate plan. All right, so the POA is going to authorize the agent to handle the day-to-day financial and manage assets. So when you think about the financial POA, you think about everything from paying bills to income, managing the income. It could be bank accounts, it could be investment accounts. And so they're taking over your financial obligations during these emergencies when you cannot. So it is everything. So please keep that in mind when you are assigning a financial POA. Medical powers of attorney, very similar. They are taking care of everything, but this is making sure your wishes are met and they're managing those wishes. They have the power. You're giving them the authorization. They're going to be consenting or refusing medical treatments. They're going to be determining things like life support and resuscitation. Now, typically, it won't become active until doctors certify this and that you're incapacitated. So that is something to also remember. The key benefits of a medical power of attorney is just ensuring, again, that your wishes are followed and your values are followed. And again, your family during this very emotional time, very stressful time, that burden on them, you would like to relieve, and the medical power of attorney does just that. All right, part 3, advanced health directive, not to be confused by the medical power of attorney. So the advanced health directive lays out all of those details, everything that you want to happen or don't want to happen when you're incapacitated. So it could have wishes on every single thing from different types of treatment, the extent of the treatment, the length of a treatment. It can really detail everything that you wish to happen or not happen when you're incapacitated. And so this is your opportunity to really lay out some of those details. And it's important to do, again, not just for yourself, for peace of mind, that you know that things are being taken care of, but certainly for those loved ones that will be with you during that time in a very high stress and emotional time and situation. All right, end of life decision making. So this kind of plays into what we were just talking about and how stressful the time is when these very sensitive decisions have to be made, and the stress and the emotions that are playing with the loved ones that you are left behind. So this document also outlines all of your end of life decisions. So that stress and that burden can be relieved from your family members and loved ones. It's only going to apply when there are two medical professionals confirming that you are not able to, you're not of the capacity to make these decisions. They must legally comply with these instructions. Nobody can come in and do anything or say anything to override this, especially family, during these decisions. And a very fascinating stat that I believe is to be very true, if you think about our own situation, 70% of Americans lack the clear end of life instructions. And so again, if it's something you are not stressed about for yourself and your peace of mind, it's something to really think about for the loved ones that you are leaving behind. All right, so let's go here. Okay, part 4. We have the irrevocable trust. Yes, easy for me to say. It's going to be one of those days, folks. Part 4. So this is a flexible legal arrangement. This manages your assets during your lifetime, but it's also a very smooth transition of those assets when you are incapacitated or at your time of death. So what is the trust and what are the key benefits? It avoids probate. Everybody wants to avoid probate. So people want to avoid probate because there's cost and long delays. And during this time, they're trying to take care of situations and kind of manage things after your passing, and your family and your loved ones just simply can't do that when you're in probate because of these long delays and costs. You're bypassing court fees and administrative expenses. So if you're thinking about doing an estate plan or updating your estate plan, you really kind of do a cost comparison because you're either investing in the estate plan now, and that will prevent you from your family paying court fees and administrative expenses down the road. And then this is where we're talking about that privacy piece. So when it goes to probate, or if the state has to step in, your records may become public. And so estate plans offer that confidentiality component. Easy for me to say. All right, funding your trust. Establishing your trust without funding it just leaves it ineffective. So how do you fund your trust? Well, your key assets. So you may have a house, even some vehicles. It can be assets in funding your trusts. And you just want to ensure all your property assets are included in your estate planning goals. And I call this a memory jogger. So when you're sitting with the attorney and you're going through your trust and building out the funding sources for your trust, it's funny because the attorney will just go down a long list of things. You'll be like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. Even if you don't think you have sources to fund the trust, 9 times out of 10, they, like I said, memory jogger, they're finding those funding sources and helping you with those. Roles. So role definition here, grantor. So you're the one that creates the funds in the trust and retains control during your lifetime. You're the grantor. You can be the trustee as well during your life that manages the trust assets, ensures compliance. And the beneficiary. The beneficiary is who gets your assets at the time of death. So those are the roles within the trust. All right. So if you're a visual person and that didn't make any sense to you, here you go on a nice graph that talks about you as a grantor. It does talk about the trustee who's managing the trust and then distributes those assets to the beneficiary based on the terms of the trust. All right. So when you're alive, there's a lot of flexibility here. You want to make sure that you're amending the trust when appropriate. You want to make sure the trustee and the grantor relationship is known and solid. And while it can be the same individual for ease of administration during life, it doesn't have to be. And assets can be added, removed, because circumstances change all the time in life. So the importance is just making sure that your trust is up to date. I was assuming my trust was up to date. I was like, oh, that was just a couple years ago. We did that, not a problem. We went back in actually earlier this year, and it had been since 2009. So don't be like us. And make sure that you are in tune with your trust, because thankfully nothing happened, and because a number of things had changed in our life, even buying a business and our son's life and those types of things. And so that is something to just keep your finger on that pulse, right? Okay, at death, your trust is, the terms become fixed. So this is what's called irrevocability. And what happens is, while the terms of the trust can change during your life, and it should change based on life circumstances, once you pass away, the terms are fixed and cannot be changed. And then the role of the successor trustee is the person that you have designated to manage your trust after you pass. So they take over all of your asset management. They ensure that your beneficiaries get the distributions and the assets as specified by the trust. And they're ensuring that your final wishes are met and honored without interference. And so this is a pretty important person in your world to make sure you have designated for your trustee. Part 5, life insurance. We are in part 5. So life insurance overview. I think most folks that are with us today likely know that life insurance is there for those critical expenses, things that happen in your final arrangements. Some debts do transfer, so you want to make sure that in some states, and every state's different, but you want to make sure life insurance is in place so you're not burdening your loved ones that you leave behind, and of course your medical bills. It's going to replace your income. So if you have responsibilities to other people in your world, you want to make sure that the life insurance replaces your income. We did talk about financial protection last month on our Real Secrets of Money. So go check that out. We kind of step through what that looks like as far as income replacement. And then it creates a legacy. So we talk a lot about wealth transfer, and many people just assume that if they have heavy and large investments, that's where wealth transfer happens. They do not realize that life insurance can be a major component of wealth transfer. Different types of life insurance. So term life insurance, I think many of us know and love this. This is a very cheap insurance. It's for a period of time. Even if you have term life insurance, it says, hey, it terms out at age 95. What happens with term insurance, because it's so cheap, if that is the case, if you have a policy like that, make sure you know if you do or not. Because when you turn 65, when you need probably protection the most, you're going to see those rates go up pretty high. You're going to see that death benefit go down. And so people don't realize that's what happens with term insurance. Term insurance absolutely has a place in your life, but you have to be really careful with term insurance. Now, permanent insurance, that is going to be a life insurance that's in place your entire life once you have a policy in place. It has some bells and whistles too. It's going to have that death benefit for you. And it's going to have living benefits, and living benefits, most cases that has living benefits, that kind of helps you with things like, think about disability coverage, also think about long-term care. And then they have a sparkly component to it that is a cash accumulation, which is kind of an investment component inside of that policy. So the key here is just making sure you've got the right insurance to fit your needs, and making sure that that it is something that is affordable. And again, in your estate planning, it's helping you reach those goals. Some life insurance benefits, tax advantages. Life insurance to your beneficiary is tax-free. And so again, when you're thinking about leaving a legacy or thinking about wealth transfer, that is something that you want to keep in mind. That probate avoidance is extremely important. We just talked about that as far as your trust. And it speeds the distributions to your beneficiaries, and it then helps with that transfer of those funds. Keeping in mind, though, I caution you for minor beneficiaries on a life insurance policy, especially if you don't have that trust, because there will be issues with the state if you're designating a minor and you don't have a trust in place. All right. So action-packed, fun-filled. I'm just going to do a little bit of a check here just to make sure we didn't ignore anybody within the chat. I think we are doing fine. How are we guys doing? Stretch out, stretch out. We got to stretch out a little bit. Okay. As if that wasn't so action-packed and fun-filled, we now can talk about taxes. Are you excited? I'm excited. All right. Estate planning tax. Okay, here is our next poll. Come on, people. Let's make sure we're on our toes with this poll. Here we go. Which concerns you most when it comes to estate taxes? So taxes overall can be very concerning, but let's talk about this. Is it the tax burden on those that you're leaving behind? Is it not understanding how the taxes work? Is it losing a portion of your estate or what you're leaving behind to taxes? You don't currently have an estate plan in place, or you're just not concerned that estate taxes apply to you? All right. Checking out our poll here. We got most of the folks have responded. Ooh, we are. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Everybody got it in? Yes. Okay. So not understanding how estate taxes work. You're not alone. And so the thing to remember with us today is these are tips. So estate taxes, you are not meant to be a subject matter expert. And also be careful if you're just Googling things to learn about what's going on with your taxes. But what we're going to do today is give you some tips, just some top tips on things that are most common for you to think about and little nuggets for you to take away. And so as you are thinking about your estate plan, again, it really pertains to you and some of the goals that you have. So as you're pulling together that plan, very specific tax treatments will be kind of recommended for you as that planning process occurs. All right. So annual gift exclusion. So this one's kind of spiffy. So let's say you are getting close to your retirement, or let's say you're in retirement and you have a nice large annuity. Maybe you have a nice large 401k. 401k typically is the plan to worry about because that is tax deferred. And so you have a lot of tax burdens in retirement, and gets really tricky. So one of the treatments that people will do is they will gift to their beneficiaries during the time they're alive. They know they're not going to be tapping into maybe some of this money, or they don't want to tap into the money because of the tax burdens, and they want to be able to shift that wealth to the next generation. The gift tax or the gift exclusion is one of those ways of doing it. So anything up to $19,000 a year can be gifted without tax. Now, if you have a spouse and you're gifting individually or splitting those gifts, you can do up to 38,000. So last year was 18 grand. This year is 19 grand. You can see where the increase is happening, obviously through inflation and some of those other reasons. And so something to think about too, though, with your gifting exclusion, if you're going to be fully leveraging this, then it does impact your estate tax. It reduces your exclusions on your estate tax, but those are much larger estates. And when those plans are in place, you're typically doing an annual review anyway, and you have a tax expert providing you those tips and tricks. So the most general exclusion to keep in mind is that gift exclusion. All right, so just the plan of the trust. I mean, we just literally talked about having a trust. So tax tips for estate planning is just having that trust in place. So by having that in place, you're going to be removing from taxable estate. And so there's potential on the state level to reduce liability as well. And then again, it protects more of that wealth for generations to come. So just having a plan. Okay. All right, step up in basis. Now, this is the one that's on YouTube everywhere. And I just want to make sure I'm keeping track of the chat. Okay, so I got a question, and we had a question. Does the gift exclusion mean I don't have to pay federal taxes on that gift? So the gift tax, yes. So it excludes you from paying full taxes. Now, I'm not a tax accountant, and everybody's tax situation is going to be different. So if you isolate that gift exclusion, the answer is yes. But you have a lot of things going on probably in your financial situation, your financial landscape. So what you would do is, if you're going to exercise that exclusion, you would be talking to your tax accountant for your specific situation, because other things are going to apply. Taxes get tricky. But if you're only talking about gift exclusion, the answer is yes, but you have to look at your full landscape to see how taxes apply to you specifically. Hopefully that helps. Awesome. All right, step up in basis. This is what you see on TikTok and YouTube if you're like me and you're a little bit of a financial freak and things pop in. So people talk about having an estate plan or having a trust because you are going to be able to protect on taxes and save on taxes and capital gains tax specifically. And that's absolutely true. So this comes into play if you are passing real estate or stocks or investments that your heirs are then selling for a profit. So an example that we have here for you to kind of wrap your arms around it or bring this home. This is if you buy stock, we just have a very simple $100. If you buy stock, it grows to $500. You pass away, your heirs gain that stock at $500. They would normally be paying tax on the $450 if they are selling it for $550. So another way to say that is they're only paying taxes on the $50 versus the $450 because the capital gains tax is something that is applied. It's called the step up in basis. So it basically takes that 100 to that 500, and you're paying taxes, capital gains that 500. You're not paying capital gains tax from that 100. All right. And this one, we've already talked about this a little bit. Life happens and tax laws change. So one of the biggest tips is to make sure that you are reviewing your plan regularly to make sure that any kind of shifting in your family situation, your financial situation, maybe some of the other areas of your estate plan has shifted as well. All of that could have tax implications. Okay, so the estate planning process as a whole, what you can think about as your key considerations is that you want to make sure that you understand that things change by state. I mean, I don't think anybody is surprised by that. There are state-specific laws and rules that really kind of guide how wills and trusts and powers of attorneys work. And so you want to make sure the state that you reside in, that you are engaging with a professional. At any time you do need a resource and want to chat with us, we can absolutely schedule that appointment. And then we can, if you're in a different state where we don't have great strategic partners, we will find one to help you align with that person so you can seek the advice of your state. All right. So here it is, again, estate planning is for everyone. I think I drove that home, 86 times as we were talking today. So it is for everyone. It's not for the wealthy. It's not for older individuals. It is absolutely for everyone. So whether you choose to engage us in your funding sources for your estate plan in the areas of annuities or life insurance or retirement planning, or you choose someone else, estate planning absolutely is something that you should be thinking about, starting the conversation, making sure that you're planning around things beyond your retirement accounts. And what do we say? Take control. So take control of your legacy, make sure that you are planning for a better future for yourself and certainly those that you are leaving behind. All right, so that is our program for today. I want to make sure we don't have any more questions in the chat. And the important thing to know here is that we're here to help you. So financial advisors, wealth strategists, we are coaches for all. And we want to make sure that we are absolutely leading with education so we empower you. We are along your financial journey always. But this is your financial journey, and it's only our goal to lift you up as you climb. So our QR code is down on this slide here. grab it up, schedule an appointment to chat with us today. We'd love to be able to talk with you and help you on this journey. And before we end today, I just want to make sure that we open it up to questions. And if somebody learned a nice little nugget today that was new to them, please let us know that as well. So please open up on the chat and let us hear from you. What questions do we have? And what learnings do we have from today? Ooh, we don't have any brave people, huh? Yes. So the QR code, I got too fast. Okay, enjoy it all. I love it. Love it. Thank you, Nikki. Always, always happy to have you in and your big smile. I love your picture. Do you recommend a revocable trust? Absolutely. That should be one of the 5 documents, a part of your estate planning. The trust is something, like I said earlier on, a lot of people think, well, I have a will, I have a simple will, those types of things, I'm fine. The reality of it is you're likely not. The trust is an extremely important document in an estate plan. And even if you choose not to put powers of attorney in place, which you should absolutely do, having a trust in place is going to cover, I don't know, 8 out of 10 things that you need to make sure are handled. But all 5 documents or all 5 components are essential in an estate plan. But certainly having a trust in place is highly recommended. All right. So Jenny, great. I'm glad you learned so much. How much is the price to step up a trust? So it's not, to set up a trust. Okay. So it really depends on the person that you choose to work with. So there's a lot of, attorney firms out there that do estate planning. So a lot of them will package your estate plan. And in the package, it's going to have your will, your trust, it's going to have your powers of attorney, and it's going to help you kind of with the deeds to transfer into the trust and things like that. And so a lot of estate planners will have these packages. Now we have partners that we work with all the time that we know and trust, and we vetted, and we know that their fee structures are very competitive. You can get people and estate planners that are wanting to package this for $5,000, and then you have other estate planners that package it for $1,700. So the thing is, it's not about the money, although you have to be able to invest in this process. You want to make sure you have trust with your estate planner. They are getting all up in your business, and they are making sure that they are protecting you, and they're establishing these documents on your behalf, because you want to make sure during that time of need, everything is in line. And then you're going to be meeting with them periodically, so you have to enjoy them, so you can work with them with ease. So that would be my recommendation. And it doesn't, every state's going to be different. And quite frankly, every attorney's office is going to be different. So like I said, we tried to vet out as many as we possibly could. We have strategic partners that we lean into and we collaborate with, because we are what we do at the core of what we do is we fund estate planning. And so we fund those estate plans. And then, we do have some referrals to estate planners. Okay, I think that answered that question. Did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it? All right, I think I got it. Okay, before we end today, I want to make sure everybody understands this is educational training disclaimer. We are trainers only, and we are not tax experts, and I clearly am not an estate planner. But this information is meant to provide you with a starting point in your journey to estate planning. So I wanted to make sure that you understood that this is not tax advice. This is not legal advice. This is general advice and information to help you make an informed decision on either how to update your estate plan or how to create one. All right, so I think that is all of the questions for today. We've flown through this material. It has been wonderful being with you today. If you ever need us or have any questions, we are Unique Growth. We're a team of financial professionals here to serve, educate, and empower. Our phone number is 513-407-8139. Talk soon.